Only a film set in Britain would have the frustrated wife running away with the widowed choir master at the local C of E church. So before Stephen Hawking was the world's most famous living scientist, before he was the author of A Brief History of Time, before he appeared on things like The Big Bang Theory, he was just another graduate student at Cambridge in the 1960s. And of course, he was a brilliant graduate student with a lot of promise. But a lot of scientists, have a lot of promise in their early careers, and they don't necessarily, change how we look upon the world. Um, but this film actually does focus only a little bit on Hawking's physics and on his discoveries, because it really is, of course, about his health and his marriage to Jane Wilde. And the film is actually based upon a memoir that she wrote of their time together. And it's exquisitely acted, and it's very well directed, and it's got a great script and a beautiful music score by someone called Johan Johansson. I have no idea who that is, but the music score is really very nice. Because Redmayne is getting all kinds of awards season buzz and talk of an Oscar, and well deserved, because he's superb and it's an incredible performance from him. And it's it isn't just an impersonation of Hawking. It really is a fantastic performance that he gives. But I think Felicity Jones as Jane Hawking, I mean, the film is as much hers as it is Redmayne's, and she gives an incredibly subtle and very careful and very warm performance. The character, long suffering wife, is a sort of character that doesn't generally call upon the kind of acting that tends to get noticed by the Academy. So other actresses this season are giving, more attention-seeking performances, but I think what Jones has done here is actually superb, and I think her performance is outstanding. But the entire cast is great. I mean, the cast includes David Thewlis, Simon McBurney, Emily Watson, Charlie Cox, and they're all excellent. Everyone is on great form here. It actually helps that the film is set in Cambridge, because I think, as far as the cinema is concerned, Cambridge and Oxford are places that are filled almost exclusively by gawkish young men with floppy hair and delicate girls in pretty party frocks. And this is very much a celebration of Cambridge in the 1960s, which seems to be a place where little else happens except wonderful formal balls, croquet, rowing, and lots of consumption of tea. There's an awful lot of tea drunk in this movie. And actually, if you look in the credits, there's actually a croquet consultant. But also, it kind of celebrates a very particular kind of middle class Englishness. So there's a lot of keeping of appearances and keeping of a stiff upper lip, even in the face of domestic crises. And so there is a love triangle, and it's played out very quietly, because it is a very quiet movie. There's no histrionics, there's no shouting matches or crockery thrown about. People don't storm out the house and slam the door behind them. There's none of that nonsense going on here at all. The actual third element of the love triangle is played by Charlie Cox, and he plays, get this, the widowed choir master at the local Anglican church. Only a film set in Britain would have the widowed choir master at the local CLV church be the other man in a marriage. Visually, James Marsh has found a couple of very interesting things to do, in much the same way that Ron Howard found some very interesting ways to express John Nash's insights in A Beautiful Mind. Marsh here has found a couple of very cool ways to express Hawking's eureka moments. I'm going to read the closing passage from Hawking's A Brief History of Time, because he talks about God. And God is an interesting part of this film, because Jane is a devout Anglican, and Hawking, of course, is a devout atheist, who has a problem with the whole celestial dictator, as he puts it. But yeah, and yet, at the end of A Brief History of Time, he wrote, "If we discover a complete theory, we shall be able to take part in the discussion of the question of why it is that we and the universe exist. And if we find the answer to that, it will be the ultimate triumph of human reason, for then we would know the mind of God." And there's a great moment in the film when he writes that. And Jane basically wants to know, are you actually acknowledging that God exists? And a big part of their relationship, and a big part of the kind of the underlying conflict in their relationship, and again, it's unspoken for much of it, is the fact that she's devout and he's an atheist. Um, so of course she increasingly finds herself drawn to a man who is as devout as she is. It is a very, very good film, and it's a very well made film, and I do highly recommend it.